been kind of a crazy week. Wow, it's always been a crazy week. I'm constantly talking about how crazy it's been. If conversations with friends that I haven't had conversations with for ages, very deep subjects, to the mundane, you know. We're in a very interesting time right now, and we need to be appreciative of that time. Very appreciative of that time. I'd like to read something to you from the experience of God. It's in the supernatural revelation. It's just something that's been kind of occurring over and over in my head. I've got it highlighted. I've been thinking about this for several weeks. If the first man's sin had not been intervened, so we have Adam and Eve, the sin from the snake convincing Eve to bite of the apple. If it hadn't been intervened, his nature, and with it the world itself, would have advanced naturally towards the goal of eternal perfection in God and been strengthened in communion with Him even while on earth. So we're hanging out on earth. Okay. And we're hanging out, and a snake comes along, and our free will has in essence been intervened. Would our nature continue along the path of the intervention? It's a difficult one. Let's see what Dimitri says. I'll come back to. Due to supernatural revelation, so due to the revelation of who we are outside of ourselves, both supreme person, the final goal of the rational creature, so this person outside of ourselves, and the way of advancing towards the supreme personal reality, which is God, are known by rational creatures clearly, just as they would have been known if the rational creature had held steadfast to natural revelation. Now, you have to understand what he's talking about with the concept of natural revelation. The natural revelation is our perceptions. Right? We are a being of nature, and we're perceiving the world around us, and those are revelations. Semicolon. For the light of the supernatural revelation is cast now over the whole of the nature. Period. So the whole of the nature is what? Our being, our communion with the free will. Is that correct? So our supernatural revelation of God is congruent or coincides with our natural revelation of God. It's kind of how I'm understanding. For the light of the supernatural revelation, is cast now over the whole of nature. So, what he's saying, from what I'm gathering in this precept, is that before we can even gather the idea of picking up a bottle, placing it to our lips, and drinking, there's a supernatural revelation of being, of who we are and how we interact with things around us. Natural revelation tells us that if I go out and grasp the beer bottle or the Coca-Cola bottle or the glass of water with ice in it, and I tip it back on my lips, I have revelation of sustenance. Right? It's going to allow me to continue forward. With supernatural revelation, from what I gather from those two paragraphs in The Experience of God by Dumitru Stenlo, I discover something completely different outside of the physical realm. That as much as I can consume and can sit and persist with my bodily functions, I have an intellectual function that cannot be quenched. And would it be quenched if the snake had never come and told me what I was doing was wrong? Would I continue? I think the seed in this idea is that, yes, whether it was a snake or a peach or anything else, I would have been tempted because the will creates division. I was given free will with the understanding that there would become a division. How's that? And I continue. It is in this way that we must understand the affirmation of Saint Maximus the Confessor. That natural revelation has the same value as supernatural revelation. This is what I'm trying to convey to you. This is exactly what I'm trying to convey to you. That is reflective, like a mirror. We are like God in Logos. We can reflect upon itself. We understand itself. We can confirm. We can confirm certain things about itself. If it wasn't for the snake, something else would come because we have to have it. With the Hegelian dialectic, which causes a whole nother set of problems. That free will gives us not only the predetermined answer, but gives us the concept of being antithetical. Whatever I presuppose, it is against. Creates opposition. I think that's why Hegel talked about the Hegelian dialectic. As soon as you think of something else wants to contend with it naturally. You know, the devil's... I believe they call it the devil's advocate. doesn't have to be there. It's there because I am assuming that what I am saying is true and someone is antithetical to it. They don't want to they don't want to admit that they are congruent. And that's okay. We see that happening in the Protestant Reformation, right? We see that happening in Orthodoxy, between the Orthodox and the Vatican Church. I think part of understanding theology is arriving to the idea that theology is based on free will within the confines of Christ. Right? So I can have this very Protestant idea that faith alone, not works, or works but not faith alone. I can have this presupposition, still not arrive to Christliness. I think Christliness is a whole nother animal. You know, when you look through a lot of the texts of the Bible, you find that outside of the will, God doesn't leave a lot of room for interpretation. As soon as you will it, you come into a different strata. I willed it to be, and I am barren to the strata that I have to be in. Like I can't retract what I've decided to do. Hence the free will, concept of free will. It's giving people multiple wills, and you have decided this is your free will. This is where your free will is leading. This complex idea, man, I could really talk about it for another hour. Outside of the serpent, would it have continued? The information I have gathered is that free will would have continued. It's a natural human state. You know, you would have naturally had, over time, positions of autonomy. Like I'm doing this because I want to do this here, and the autonomous position here is that I want to do it. So you feel autonomous wherever you're at, whatever position. It's a sense of modism. It's not correct theologically, but there is a sense of modism. And we'll get right back at you. This is Spreaker. spliskin.spreaker.com. Check me out. I've got a couple of drunken tweeter rants you should check out. Take care. I'll see you on the next segment.